Yam Shaiva Samupasate Shivaidi Brahmeti Vedantino Bahuddha Buddha Idi Pramana Padavaha Kartedi Nayyaiga Arhan Nityatha Jaina Shasanarata Karmeti Mimamsaka Soyamvo Vidadhatu Vanchita Phalam Trailokyanaatho Harihi Soyamvo Vidadhatu Vanchita Phalam Trailokyanaatho Harihi Harihi Om Harihi Om. That's. We shall have the chorus recitation 3 times as usual. I would like you to take the necessary pose for it. Interlock your fingers, put them on your lap. Sit reasonably erect, not causing any discomfort for you. Then close your eyes, open the mouth and the heart, and join me. Needless to say, I would like every one of you present here to participate in this chorus recitation. This recitation comes from the self, and properly heard and attuned to, it will also take your mind to the self. It all depends upon how you produce the sound and how you listen to it in an attuned manner. The last time to begin with, all of you. Harihi Om Tats Jaya Guru. You know, our caption is realize the self here and now. Self is a very clear reference. It is a reference to yourself, your own self, yourself. It is not to any other object in this world. This reference is not merely a reference to the body, not even to the mind, nor even to the intelligence and the ego. It is something inward and beyond all these. Our mind is different from the body. It is, if at all, a substance called consciousness, which the body is not. The body is full of matter and energy. It is physical and gross in nature. It can be sensed and perceived by your senses. But the mind is inward to the body, though associated with the body. It is not really a physical part of the gross physical body. If we can think of objects as objects, there can be gross objects and subtle objects. The subtle objects are inward to the gross objects. So the body is a gross object to us. The mind, intelligence and ego are subtle objects to us. With reference to all these things, there is a subject. And that subject is the self. Even ego becomes an object for you. You refer to it as my ego. Everything in this world is referred to as my and mine. My world, my sight, my sound, my house, my body, my car, my book, my qualification, my degree, my possession, my wealth, everything is mine. Similarly, you refer to the mind also as mine, intelligence also as mine, the ego also as mine. I had a small ego when I was a boy. It started growing like a coconut. Now it has become a jackfruit. This is the type of statement that you make. So that ego is also different from me. Whenever you use the possessive case, it can always refer to something different from me in the form of an object. And the nominative case is only one, I. And that I remains the same ever since your birth. All the other factors, external and internal, have been continuously changing. Let us be very clear about it. Now the self is a reference to that which is present within your body, other than matter and energy, with reference to which our entire life, interactions and interactional impacts, everything takes place. Now that self is there within you because you say I. Now you have to realize that self. It is not hearing about it, reading about it, thinking about it, rationalizing it. It is a question of realizing it. And that realization is what we have been attempting to do, insisting upon, so far as I am concerned, for the past 2 days. Where from did we start? In the whole creation called universe, there are altogether only 5 different factors, I said. 5 of them are outside, the Panchabhutas as we call them, the solid earth, the fluid water, the gaseous air, the different forms of energy represented by fire, and ultimately the endless space within which all these 4 factors or constituents are there. In the whole world there is nothing beyond these 5, and all these are gross and outside, available for our senses to perceive. When a child is born, a very little tender baby, that baby comes into the world with a fully organized body in which all the 5 sensory organs are there. The body continues to grow, say up to the age of 21. The child doesn't get anything additionally to perceive or interact with the world. The hands are there, the feet are there, eyes, ears, nose, etc. are there. Right from then on, we are interacting with this world, including our body. And all of them are perceptible or sensible to the senses. Now these 5, constantly you understand, these are the only 5 constituting the endless and variegated creation. There is a 6th factor that is different from these 5. If these are matter and energy, the 6th factor is not matter, not energy. Because it is different from matter and energy, we refer to it as a spiritual presence, as a spiritual prevalence. It is actually consciousness, intelligence, by virtue of which we are capable of knowing all the things in this world, including our body and ourselves. When you refer to the I, you certainly have some idea or some experience of the I. And it is not a piece of matter. It is not something like energy. So there is something in you called consciousness, which is capable of making you conscious of the other things as well as yourselves. This is what we call the 6th factor. If the whole world consists of 5, and the 6th factor is present only in you, in the body, in the form of the power and presence by virtue of which you cognize the body and cognize the world, why should you miss it? There cannot be an action or an experience without there being a subject for the action. An action is a phase of expression of the actor. An experience can be had only when the experiencer is first there. So without the experiencer, you cannot have the experience. Without the subject, you cannot have a verb predicating an action. So it is always there. Then why is it that you are missing? Only because you are not exposed to it. Now we have a beautiful setting where the great illustrious king and emperor Janaka found a great teacher in Ashtavakra sage, and he says, please instruct me. I want to know what is spiritual wisdom in reality and how can liberation be attained by virtue of wisdom. And how can dispassion be cultivated? Suddenly he started exposing him. I spoke about the conversation for 2 days. Today we are going to conclude it. So I continue the discussion. Eko vishuddha bodhoham iti nishchayavanhina prajwalya jnana gahanam vidashokaha sukhi bhava. Now your area is completely made easy now. The entire world is inert, insentient, consisting of the 5 elements or Panchabhutas. The only other factor by virtue of which you know everything, including your body, mind, etc., is the consciousness. You cannot access it. You cannot locate it. You cannot interact with it in any other place except in your own living body while you are living. So, my dear seekers, my dear listeners, the entire focus is within our body. Within our body. And there too, not in the mind, not in the intelligence, not in the ego, but something beyond it, which we call the self, denoted by the term, the first personal pronoun, I. That I, the sage Ashtavakra is defining and describing it from various angles. Ekaha, that is the only singular presence in the whole universe, which does not change at all. The world changes, the Panchabhutas change, the body changes, the mind changes, the intelligence also, the ego also is subject to fluctuation and changefulness. So this is the only single entity. Without this, there cannot be an object. Without this, there cannot be an experience. Without this, there cannot be a perception. Without this, there cannot be an action or an interaction. An action is its expression. The world is its extension. Experience is its becoming. So this becomes the fulcrum, the pivot of our entire life. There is nothing else. That ekaha, you are that one, not the body, not the world objects, not the mind, not the intelligence, not the ego. Vishuddha bodhoham. I am this unconditioned, unaffected, unassailed, unassailable, unchanging, constantly remaining as the substratum in the whole of my life, in my personality as well as in the whole world. Vishuddha bodhoham. I am that wonderful consciousness, awareness, which is uncontaminated, contaminable. It can never be mixed up with anything. I interact with a number of things in this world. In all these interactions, will you please tell me whether the I in you ever gets mixed up with the other things? Huh? The I remains the I. When I am seeing this, I am seeing this. While seeing this, I remain the seer, and the object remains an object before me. The subject doesn't get mixed up with the object. The object doesn't get mixed up with the subject. Only when I remain alone, different from, distinct from, and in its own sovereign splendor, I will be able to live, move, act and interact with the world. So you are always that bodha, and that is holy and pure. You can think of impurity in substances, physical, chemical, etc. The voltage of electricity that you are getting may sometimes dwindle. That is what happens to energy, what happens to matter. Here is something non-material, non-energial, the spiritual, and in the spiritual presence, there can never be any kind of a dwindling, a constriction, a contamination, or an affectation. So you are always most immaculate, most immaculate. The thief sleeps. The most holy person also sleeps. Can you tell me whether there is any difference between the two? Huh? The thief also sleeps. The most virtuous man, the terrorist, sleeps. The dacoit sleeps. The greatest immoralist person, he also sleeps. And the most virtuous person also sleeps. In both instances you will find the entire body, every cell of the body is embraced by this wonderful presence. Wonderful presence. When we get up, we are equally fresh, equally fresh. There is nothing like a robber's sleep. There is nothing like a brahmana sleep, an ascetic sleep. Not at all. So it remains uncontaminated. Iti nishchayavannina. Come to a proper decision, a resolution, and an assessment about it. And let this decision, this assessment in you, that I am the Vishuddha Bodha, I am the most immaculate consciousness in me, characterized by the term I. It remains ever the same. It does not undergo a change. It doesn't get mixed up with an action or an interaction. I am always like that. Contemplate upon it, think about it, introspect over it, and let this decision and assessment about you start blowing like a huge fire. It should blaze like a fire. Prajwalya jnana gahanam. And that fire of wisdom should burn the dense forest of darkness completely. Prajwalya. Let the whole dense forest of ignorance be completely burned by it. And then Vita Shokaha, transcending all grief that is thinkable, transcend all grief. Where is grief? What can it do to you? It may affect your body, I have no objection. It can affect your mind, I agree. Intelligence also may be confused, I agree. The ego also may be hit, I agree. But beyond that, in the eye level, can grief have any domain at all? Ma was telling me, you are speaking and such wonderful ideas are presented, and before they are assimilated, you are expecting them to say yes or no. So give them some time. So I am giving you some time, but I want an answer. See, your grief may affect the biological body. The grief comes to you when you see something, when you hear something. The seeing and hearing are biological functions. They are sensory functions. You may think of something and you may have a memory of an event. That may cause grief. Your intelligence may be doubtful and indecisive. That may cause grief. Your ego may be hindering you. That may cause grief. So all the grief is either in the bodily level, or in the mental level, or in the intellectual level, or in the ego level. But beyond that, where you have I sleep, in that sleep level, can you have a grief? No. Can you have a grief? No. Can you? No. Now I am all right. Vitashokaha sukhi bhava. The grief is an experience, a response, or a reaction, or an emotion the mind produces. And the mind is again like the surface of the sea, it is only on the surface. It is something like a wave or a breaker, lather, foam, bubble, or things like that surfacing on the top of the sea. The sea is very vast, very deep. And in the deepest level, nothing is there. Nothing can happen. Vitashokaha sukhi bhava. If you want to be comfortable, don't be comfortable in the mind level. The comfort and the contentment, pin it deeper and deeper and go to the very source level, which does not change at all. Yatra vishwamidam bhadi kalpidam rajju sarpavad ananda paramanandaha sabodhastvam sukham chara. This experience is not merely absorptional, contemplational in character. This experience can be functional and interactional. Initially you have it closing your eyes, contemplating upon the subject of everything in you. Transcending even the ego, you get into that plane and you may have it. But it is not sufficient if you enjoy it in the way of an absorptional experience, a meditational fruition. Just like with any knowledge that you acquire, you remain functional and interactive. Here also you have to be functional. So he says, Yatra vishwamidam vabhi kalpidam rajju sarpavad. Whenever you refer to the world, what did I say? whenever you refer to any kind of an object including the world, are you referring to that or are you referring to the impression that the mind produces? I look at the sun. Have I gone to the sun? Has the sun come to me? Then how do you refer to the sun? With the help of the eyes, an image of the sun, an imprint of the sun is formed in your mind. So by referring to sun as a product or an object of experience, are you really referring to something outside you, or are you verily referring to some impression or imprint in your mind? My dear souls, it's a delusion. It's a delusion. Suppose you don't have eyes, will the sun ever be there? Suppose you are sleeping, will the sun ever be there? So your senses have to be active. And to activate the senses, you must have the mind and the consciousness. The seeing process proceeds from you, within, from the mind. And the mind employs the sensory organ. The sensory organ, mark my expression, the sensory organ permits the light rays emanating from the sun. And these rays come and touch the cornea. Thereafter, a wonderful, mystic, invisible process goes on within. And in the mind which activated the eye, there is an imprint which the mind itself makes of the sun. So the sun you perceive, is it the mind-produced sun or the object sun? Please tell me 1,000 times. Is it a mind-produced sun or a sun outside? You have not gone to him, the sun has not come to you, but you are perceiving the sun. So what are you? Yatra Vishwamidam Bhadi. You are that forum, that platform within your body where the whole universal variety, universal magnitude is dawning. It is floating. It is floating. You see a mustard, it is very small. See a mountain, it is big. See the sea and the space, they are still bigger and vaster. All these increasing degrees of perception, where are they taking place? In the perceiving mind or a millimeter outside? Huh? And where is the mind? Outside the body or inside the body? So the whole universe that you perceive and interact with, tell me very clearly, is it an inner universe in your mind or an outer one? Yatra, where? Within your body. In the consciousness that animates the body, Vishwamidam Bhadi. The extensive universe is shining. Where is it shining? Inside the mind. Kalpidam Rajju Sarpavad. You are misunderstanding it. You are calling it grass. You are calling it various and variety. It is just like a rope. There is not ample light. You suddenly see it and you consider it to be a snake. Where is that snake? Was it in the rope? Huh? You bring light and examine the rope, so there is no snake. So you tell me, where was the snake that you perceived? You frightened and ran away. But was the snake there? So here also, it is the subject mind that you take to be the object universe. The mind is within the body. The mind is within the body. It never exits from the body. If the mind does not exit and all the impressions are inner alone, how dare you call the gross object, the gross universe outside and separate from you? What authority do you have? What basis do you have? What rationality is there? You are referring to your perception of the universe. The universe doesn't perceive you. You perceive and you call it, it is this, it is this, it is like this. So this assessment is made by your intelligence, by your mind. Looking at an imprint it produces within the body in itself. So is there an external gross universe, or is it only a feeling of grossness generated by your own mind? We are stuck. We are stuck. What can I do? I cannot do much. Because you are not able to admit the truth. You feel that, how can I say this, but I don't feel so. Feeling comes later, Baba. Everything that you study, do you use it right then? What authority do you have to say that there is a gross universe? Where is this grossness produced? It is produced by your mind. The mind produces the idea of gross, the idea of subtle, and differentiates between the two. The mind is within the body. It is subtle. Can the subtle mind within the body produce a gross item? Can the subtle mind within the body produce a gross mountain? But it is the mind that perceives the mountain. Because the mind is subtle within the body, can the gross mountain perceived by it can ever be true? This is why you don't become devotees and godly. It's such a simple proposition that I am making. A subtle mind cannot produce a gross item. The mind is subtle within the body. So can it produce a gross mountain? Suppose it did produce, then the body would break. So all the grossness is only notional and ideational. It's all in your own mind. It's a mind picture. So, yatra vishwam idam bhadi. The whole universe is shining in your mind, Ananda paramanandaha. So the whole universe has no existence besides your mind. The universe arises there, the universe sets there. When you are wakeful, the extension takes place. When you go to sleep, everything is obliterated. So the entire universe depends upon your wakefulness, and it depends upon your sleep to disappear. So the emergence of the universe and the subsidence of the universe, where do they take place? Where do they take place? Where do they take place? Say that. Say that. Feel it. Experience it. Be a master of this universe. Be a master of this universe. You are the only subject in the whole universe. Everything in the universe is an object before you. If you, the subject, were not there, the universe would have gone unnoticed, unrecognized. The animals also see the universe. When you walk with a dog, as I always say, you and the dog together see the objects. But the dog can only see and stop it. But you can think about it and do a lot of planning and execution. So many animals have lived on the surface of the earth as many years as we have lived. But they have not been able to have a civilization, multi-storied building, air traffic, land traffic, sea traffic, etc. What is the difference, you tell me? They are also living, you are also living. So everything is wrought, is worked by the mind, by our intelligence. Ananda paramanandaha. You the subject, universe the object, interactions are with the object. None of these object interactions and interactional impacts can ever affect you, dislodge you, change you, the subject. Ever since your birth, the few decades that you have lived, tell me very clearly here and now, has the I in you ever changed? No. Has it become fatter? No. Has it ever become thinner? No. Has it become taller? No. Has it become a dwarf? No. Then what is your complaint? Have you been able to add to this I? No. And did anything reduce the I? No. The I remains the same. It remains the same. All the changes are besides it. In the object can. In the I, there is no change for whatsoever. Ananda Paramanandaha. You are the supreme and unalloyed, unconditioned bliss. Bliss, supreme. Sabodhastvam sukham chara. Acquire this knowledge. Acquire this realization. And live comfortably, happily, exultingly, delightfully, rejoicingly in this world. The purpose of this discussion is to make you happy and contented. In spite of whatever comes and goes, everything comes to me and everything goes from me. I have not come and I shall not go. Let the going and the coming be ever there. My dear things, please come. My dear things, please go. I shall enable you to come as well as to go. I myself have not come and I shall not go. Now, in order to arrive at this realization, what is the method if you ask me? Mukta bhimani muktohi baddho baddhabhimanyabi kim vadantiha satyeyam ya matihi sa gatir bhavet. Mukta bhimani muktohi baddho baddhabhimanyabi. It is your own association, your own imagination, your own assertion, your own memorization, your own reflection, rumination, introspection and contemplation. So contemplate upon the right, not the wrong. Mukta bhimani. A man who considers that I am the I, and the I is uncontaminable, and the I is unalloyed, it is never connected with anything, it cannot dwindle, it cannot increase, it remains the same. I am the I, I am the I, I am the I. As the I am liberated, I don't need liberation. It is ever free, ever immaculate. In this way, if you start imbuing yourself with the right thought, Mukta bhimani, Mukto he becomes liberated. It is like learning driving. You start learning the driving. Then also your hands and legs, feet, they are in the right positions. Initially you are a learner. Thereafter you become an expert driver. So start saying that I is liberated. Initially you say my I is liberated. Later on you say I am the I, therefore I am liberated. What? Initially you say the I in me is ever liberated. Thereafter you start saying I am liberated, I am liberated. When you can think like this, contemplate upon the liberatedness of your very being. Mukto you become liberated. Baddho baddhabhimanyabi. If you start saying I am bound, I am constricted, I am always miserable, I am unhappy, I cannot grow, I cannot become better, I am fated to be this, fated to be this, fated to be this. Useless, become useless. Or if you say that I am infinitely expansive, I can never be undone by anything, I will always be a repository of virtues, greatness, magnificence, perfection, benevolence. If you start repeating these thoughts, you will become like that. Kim vadanti satyeyam ya matihi sa gadir bhavet. There is a proverbial statement. What is that? Ya matihi sa gadihi. Whatever you think, that you become. What did I say? Whatever the mind thinks, that the mind becomes. So the mind is the architect of its own fate and plight. If it starts thinking it is fortunate, it becomes fortune. If it starts thinking unfortunate, it becomes misery. We are inviting the misery to our heart by virtue of wrong contemplation. Oh world, you are miserable. Oh world, you are miserable. Therefore, I am miserable. The world is neither miserable nor otherwise. The evil always lies in the eyes of the perceiver. This world is godly. This world is godly. And you call it worldly. I refuse to call. This world is a becoming of God. God alone has become the universe. When the butter becomes ghee, Do you think there is any change? The butter remains the same. When the sugar cane gets transformed into sugar, is the quality of the substance ever changed? Then why do you say this is world opposed to God? This is world akin to God, alike God, identical with God. The earth is God, the water is God, the air is God, the fire is God, the space is God, the body is God, the mind is God, the intelligence is God, the ego is God, the I is God. Nothing else. So have a contemplation, a wholesome contemplation of the truth. Never divide it, never partition it, never differentiate it. Differentiation arises from the mind, and that is the doom for you. Muktabhimani muktohi. Think in terms of liberation and becomes liberated, liberational. On the other hand, if you start saying, no, Swamiji, it is not possible, it will always be not possible. I think you should today itself fly with the wings of liberation. I am providing you the wings. Put them on. Pop, take off. Muktabhimani muktohi. Atma sakshi vibhuv purnaha. Ego muktaschidakriyaha. Asango nisprahashyamto. Brahmat samsaravaniva. Atma sakshi vibhuv purnaha. The word Atma means the self. And what is the self? That which you denote by the term I. So when you say I, are you not referring to the self? Yes. Are you not referring to the self? Yes. This I, has it ever become different? No. Then what is your problem? When you got married, did the I become 2? No. When you had 2 children, did it become 4? When you became rich, in the eye level there was a bank or there was ringgit there. See, the eye remains always the same, whether it is rich or whether you are rich or you are poor. Atma, you are the I, the self. Sakshi, it is always the witness, the observer. It is the witness of the universe. Whether you own half a dozen buildings in Petalinjaya or not, it remains always the witness. It never takes any one of the building. It remains within you, within you. It is a metaphysical presence. It is a spiritual presence. It does not require any material abode at all. So all these additions or alterations are in a sphere which is absolutely different from the I. It is always the witness, not the witnessed. Vibhuhu, as it is pervading in the Panchabhautik body, it is equally pervading in all the universe. Purnaha, therefore it is full. Ekaha, singular, only one. Muktaha, therefore liberated. Are you following the sequence? Yes. It is liberated because it is always singular. There is no second factor to condition it, affect it, or tie it down. Consciousness can never be tied down or acted upon by any material presence or object. A body in a state of rest or in a state of uniform motion will continue to be so unless it is acted upon by an external force, is a law Newton discovered. But so far as the I is concerned, there is no second factor to act upon it. Am I clear or not? There is no second factor to act upon it. Therefore, it continues to be what it was. It was ever free, ever luminous, ever splendorous, ever dependent, ever sovereign, not seeking anything, not changing any time. It remains ever the same. Ekaha, muktaha, therefore liberated. Chidakriyaha, it is not material matter, it is not energy. It is consciousness. You show me consciousness anywhere else in this world other than in you. It's only accessible within your body. Because it is within your body alone, it remains there. Whenever you saw the objects, has it ever exited from the body? Huh? Has your mind ever left your body so far? You may have seen so many things. You may have interacted with many things. Tell me very clearly, has the mind exited from the body?
No.
Has it again come back at any time?
No.
So what has happened to it? What has happened to it? Nothing. Then what is your complaint? Understand the truth. You don't have to gain anything here. You don't have to acquire anything here. You understand what is and what you are. Chidakriyaha. In that level there is no action, there is no interaction, no activity at all. The activity is in the level of the senses, in the level of the mouth, in the level of the mind, intelligence and ego. But beyond that, in the eye level, no action ever proceeds from there. And no effect ever befalls there. Asango nisprahashyamto. You are always asangaha. You are not involved in anything. You are not attached to anything. What can attach to what? The mind is so subtle that can it ever attach? You are breathing air. It comes in and it goes out. Is the air attached to you?
No.
Are you attached to the air?
No.
Then can the self be attached to anything or something attached to itself? You are always asangaha, unattached. Nisprahaha. That I doesn't require anything. There is nothing for it to take. There is nothing for it to leave. Desire is redundant. It is incoherent so far as the I is concerned. Shantaha. Being ever present, always present, everywhere present. It remains full, complete, peaceful. Brahmad samsaravaniva. It is only because of a delusion, following ignorance, that you say, I have become worldly, I have got married, I have this, I have that, I have lost this. All these are propositions you make in delusion, in ignorance. When you are crying, the eyes are crying. To some extent the mind is crying. You tell me whether the I in you ever cries? Does the I in you ever laughs? Has it ever become hungry? Was it ever appeased by you? Please, go into this. Go into this. Brahmad samsaravaniva. Only it is a delusional process that you say, oh, I am a man, I am a woman, I have children, they have grown, they are disobeying me. If they are disobeying you, you don't disobey them. They disobey, theirs is the defect, let them suffer. You tell them you are disobeying and you suffer for that. Some others scolded you, so who did the wrong? They or you? If they have done the wrong, let them grieve. Why are you grieving? They have scolded, they have abused me, they have abused me, they have abused me, they have abused. Therefore ask them to grieve. Don't shed any tears. If there is any truth in the abusing, prostrate before them and then say, okay, very happy, I will correct myself. If there is no meaning, throw it on their head and keep quiet. You walk gallantly. See how much mistaken we are. Dehabhimana pashena chiram baddhosi putraka bodhoham jnana khadgena tannigritya sukhi bhava. He is after all a king. He has a sword and shield, etc. So Ashtavakra is telling him in the language of a fight. What does he say? Dehabhimana pashena chiram baddhosi putraka. My dear son, you have got a dehabhimana, a body consciousness. What is that body consciousness? It's not as you understand. The body consciousness is that I am the body. I have a body is okay. That consciousness is okay. But you cannot say, I am the body. I have a watch. Am I the watch? I have put on dress. Am I the dress? Suppose you married, do you become the wife or the husband? Huh? When you have children, do you become the children? Then you don't need the children. See, everything is everything is remaining separate from me. So I have a body. That body was born. That body may die. That does not mean I have become the body and I was born and I am going to die. So this dehabhimana, by the infusion of the body idea, chiram for long, baddhosi putraka, you have remained bound by an erroneous notion, an incorrect notion, fostered and pampered and retained and reinforced by your mind. Bodhoham jnana khadgena, I am giving you the right spiritual knowledge as a sharp double-edged sword and cut across this bondage. Bodhoham jnana khadgena, I am living in a body, I have a body. The body is inert, matter, energy, insentient. But the one who lives in the body is not at all matter, is not at all inert. I am the sentience in the body, consciousness in the body. The consciousness can never become the matter-energy aggregate called the body. So carry this consciousness, use it as a sharp sword and cut across the ignorance, the body abhimana. Tan nigritya, cut across this pasha, this noose that is binding you. Sukhi bhava. Become comfortable, happy, relaxed, free. What? Free. Become that. Don't wait for any time. Do it right now. Right now. Free. Say. Free. 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 This is what you should feel. You don't have to create freedom, cause freedom, bring it about. The air is entering the nostrils, lungs. It also goes out. Is not the air free? Huh? Yes. Is not the water also free? Yes. Then what is unfree in you? Only your wrong notion. That is the troublesome process. Please get rid of it. Nissango nishkriyo sitvam swaprakasho niranjanaha ayameva hite bandho samadhim anuthishtasi. You know, these are very, very super high level instruction. I have a reluctance to speak about it. Nissango, you are absolutely unattached, unassociated. Nishkriyo, nishkriya, kriya means activity. Nishkriya means absolutely non-active. My hand is holding, eyes are seeing, ears are hearing, my mind is thinking, my intelligence is understanding, my ego is asserting. All these actions are attributed to the respective organs, external and internal. Now these are organs wielded by me, enabled by me, empowered by me. That in the me and the I level, none of these actions ever takes place at all. Actions are a millimeter away from me by the different respective organs. Part of the organs are physical and physically situated. Part of it is internal, internally situated. I am the wielder. Nissangaha, niskriyaha asi tvam swaprakasho. Swaprakasho. What does it mean? You are self-luminous. You are not illumined by anything or anybody. Is there any point of time in your life when you became unconscious of yourself? Huh? When you had become unconscious, as in sleep or coma, after waking up you say, I was unconscious. Is it not? Yes. So was there any time when in the I level the consciousness got dimmed or the consciousness became extinct? Swaprakashaha. In pitch darkness also, when you cannot see your body, you know that I am and I have a body. For giving vision to the eye, we require the presence of external light. To recognize a thought, you don't require any other luminosity. You say, I have thoughts, my mind is thinking. They are very virulent, whirling. When you sleep, I am going to sleep, I feel sleepy, I slept, I wake up. At no point of time, the consciousness in you has ever dimmed or disappeared. Swaprakasho niranjanaha. You are absolutely blemishless, stainless, colorless, odorless. Ayameva hite bandho samadhimanudishtasi. This indeed is your bondage, Janaka, that you are wanting to practice meditation, contemplation and samadhi. Who asked you to sit like this? Huh? This is something to be realized now. Using your intelligence, using your perceiving faculties. And in order to realize it, you are going to keep quiet in a room, shut your organs. You know, there are people, how long they can sit. So they try to droop. So they get something like a V stick here. Y stick here. After some, another one here. This is what they do. But it's not necessary. Not at all. We are discussing knowledge here. This knowledge is discussed in the wakeful hours. It is spoken, revealed by an exponent. It is received by the listeners. It is an interaction between the teacher and the students. Ayameva hite bandho samadhimanudishtasi. Oh, you have a great flair for meditation. Big seat, tiger skin. What is this? This is your bondage, Janaka. This is something to be understood, to be gained, to be known, to be grasped. If you want to learn mathematics, long equations, etc., suppose you meditate, will you understand them? You have to sit with the paper, start doing the work. Here also you exercise your intelligence, get to know the knowledge. Tvaya vyaptamidam vishwam tvayi prodam yatharthadaha shuddha buddha swarupastvam ma gamaha kshudrachittadam. Are you happy in my talking and explaining the subject? Really? Okay. See, tvaya vyaptamidam vishwam. You know why I asked you? Because I am going to explain a proposition which I want every one of you to understand. Tvaya vyaptamidam vishwam. We are living in a world, living in a universe. Wherever we are, in whatever corner of the globe we are interacting with this world, seeing at least the endless sky that is common for all. Without the space, there cannot be heavenly bodies. Without the heavenly bodies, there cannot be our earth. And we cannot live upon the earth without air for breathing, water for drinking. We must have the sunlight, the moonlight, and the fire also. So we are interacting with all these 5 elements, Panchabhutas. While doing all these things, there is a fundamental fact. A fundamental fact. Is the universe pervading in you, or you are pervading in the universe? It's a test paper for you. You should give marks to yourself. When I see all of you, are you all pervading in me, or in my mind I have the extension which I have, in which all of you are imprinted? Is my language all right? Huh? When I see the extensive universe, is the universe permeating me, or I am permeating, my mind and consciousness are permeating in the universe? Not satisfied. Please understand this. I am sitting here and seeing all of you. How can I see all of you unless I permeate everywhere that you are? So this permeation is taking place from me and in me, of all of you are getting up and entering into me. Huh? Not clear?
In you, within us.
What shall I do? What shall I do? See, when I say, I am the universe, I am seeing the universe around you. I am saying there is a universe, endless universe around me. This endlessness, endless magnitude, am I not feeling it in myself?
Yes.
So is it not created by me?
Yes.
Subsisting and resting on me?
Yes.
So the entire infinitude of the universe is actually a permeation from my mind, in mind, of the mind.
Yes.
So the universe is permeated and pervaded by you, not the universe pervades in you.
Yes.
So, tvaya vyaptamidam vishwam. The entire universe is pervaded by you. Tvayi prodam yatharthadaha. It is woven and interwoven in your mind, in your consciousness. When I see so many of you seated, remaining here, I can say, how many are here? Where are they seated? Which are the chairs which are empty? In which row X or Y is seated? Everything I can say from here. Unless all of you in totality is in my mind, can I ever say?
No.
Huh?
No.
So am I not pervading in everything? Yes. And the whole of it is woven in my mind. Yes. In my mind. In my mind. Tvayi prodam yatharthadaha. Shuddha buddha swarupaswam. To enable all the different colors, all the different complications, everything to be woven into me, I have to remain separate from all of them. So the water is color-free. So you can dissolve any color in the water and the water will reflect it. The plain mirror is absolutely plain, colorless, clean. That is why any colorful object can be reflected by it. So if all the things in the universe have to be woven in me, and I must be able to distinguish one from the other, don't you think that I, in whom all these things are woven, must be different from all these like the plain mirror?
Yes.
So I am Shuddha Bodha, the very pure and immaculate consciousness. Ma gamaha kshudra chittadam. Do not undergo a triflingness of your mind. Understand the majesty of your mind, the magnificence of your mind, the glory of your mind, the potential of your mind. It can host a universe in it. Therefore, it is greater than the universe. Don't think that I am rich, I am pure, I am good for nothing, I am aged, I am weak, I am waiting to go to the grave. Don't say all these things. Ma gamaha kshudra chittadam. This is actually mental poverty, mental triflingness, mental poverty, mental triflingness, mental lowness, mental distortion, mental perversion. Don't undergo all these things. Become loose. Be free. Tvaya vyaptamidam vishwam tvayi prodam yatharthadaha shuddha buddha swarupastvam ma gamaha kshudra chittadam nirapeksho nirvikaro nirbhara shitalashayaha agadha buddhirakshubdho bhava chinmatra vasanaha. I am reading the Sanskrit verses and explaining. Do you like them?
Yes.
Very good. Nirapeksho nirvikaro. You, the singular, the only subject. All other things are absolutely different from inert and the objects. Such a person, sovereign and supreme, wholesome as you are, can you ever desire for anything in this world? When when all of you are going to tell me no, as Ma says, how much time shall I give you? Understand these words. You are the singular. You are the supreme. You are the supreme. You are the wholesome. You allow no second entity in this world. You are the subject, and all the other things are objects. No object can ever access you and come to you. They remain in their own access. You only produce an imprint of it. So the entire object universe is your slave. It is a bubble on the vast surface of the sea that you are. That being so, do you want to have a desire at all?
No.
Is there any scope for a desire?
No.
Is not desire redundant?
Yes.
A product of ignorance and delusion?
Yes.
This is knowledge, my dear souls. India is a great country. India is a great country. As long as it has this treasure, nothing in this world or beyond can shake it. We are not afraid of poverty. We are not anxious to become rich. We have so many stories where our kings and emperors abandoned the kingdom, went to the forest to live a solitary life in contemplation, to gain, possess and float over the ecstasy of the inner throne. Mind you, we are not interested in catching hold of the moon. No. We already know any possession makes you poorer and poorer. The moment you accept that I want something, you have become poor. Poor. When you desire an object and pursue the object, are you pursuing the object or pursuing the desiring process in you? Please answer me. You have a desire for an object and you pursue the desire. So are you not pursuing the desiringness of your mind? Yes. And when your desired object is had, what happens? The desire becomes extinct. It is no more there. So the fulfillment of a desire means extinction of the desire. Is it not? Yes. So when you have no desire at all the desires become extinct, then you have all-fold fulfillment. This is something to be had internally in your mind. Why are you mad and foolish to run after these things? I am not clear? Yes. But I don't find it on your face. See, when I fulfill a desire, the desire becomes extinct. That means I am free from the desire. Suppose I become free from the desire, it is all-fold fulfillment for you. So should you try for this all-fold fulfillment internally, or should you run after one item after the other? Which is wiser? Please understand it. Become wiser. Become wiser. Don't become foolish. Don't become ignorant. Agada buddhi, akshubdha, nirbharaha, sheetalashaya, nirbharaha. You must be abundant. You must feel abundance in you. I am already filled with the soul, and the soul fills the whole universe. Therefore, there is nothing for me to acquire. There is no vacuum at all. There is no void at all. There is nothing for me. There is nothing that excels me. I am the excellent. I am the supreme. Nirbharaha. Remain full with your consciousness. Sheetala. Become cool and comfortable. The air conditioner is for the body, not for the mind. The mind conditioner is this wonderful wisdom. Agadha buddhi. Let your buddhi intelligence be immensely deep. If you think about the body, the buddhi becomes very, very short and trifling. Think about the mind, it becomes bigger. Think about the intelligence, it becomes wider, broader. Think about the soul, it becomes infinite and stupendous. Am I clear? Yes. Akshubdha. Never be agitated by anything. People are raising questions on the cruelties of people. If people are there and you are not able to control and manage them, they will be anything. Either you rule them well, enable them to live well, or accept whatever calamities or conflicts come through. Agatha buddhihi akshubdhaha. Be agitated by none, nothing. You know, a good self-knower, he will not be surprised when the ocean completely dries up one day and shows the bottom. Or Mount Meru and Himalayas become molten and they start flowing. He will not be surprised. There will come a day when our sun ceases to become hot. It becomes cold. There will come a day. You may not be alive, my body also may not be. There is nothing to be surprised at all. The world is what it is. If you want to make a good outcome of the world, turn to your own inside and become a master. Excel everything in this world. Never allow the world to excel you, overpower you, overwhelm everything from this world. Sakaram anrutam, no. Agatha buddhihi akshubdhaha bhava chinmatra vasanaha. If at all you want to foster a desire this self-knowledge, desire this self-expansion, desire this self-abidance. Try to get hold of this inner glory, this inner splendor, this inward majesty. This is what you desire, if at all. Not for wealth, not for house, not for belongings. Chinmatra vasanaha. Finally, I will conclude it with one verse. Tada muktir yada chittam na vanchati na shochati. Then indeed is liberation when your mind no more desires and no more grieves. Na munchati na grinhadi. It never leaves, it never holds. Na hrishyati na kupyati. It never delights, it never becomes hateful. The mind becomes so beautiful and so salubrious that it does not have these conflicting and mutually opposite emotions. It does not swing and dance. It remains firm, it remains unshakable, it remains poised in its own beauty, splendor, greatness. This is what the mind becomes. That is called liberation. Liberation is that state of psychological sufficiency, the psychological stability and poise, the unshakability that you are able to feel, the unassailability that you are able to generate and preserve. So it's all a psycho-intellectual excellence that you can think of. A psycho-intellectual excellence. It is a fruition that adorns your mind and intelligence. Be heirs of it. You are already. Try to pursue this and be glorified and guided by the wisdom that you hear. Be true to what you have heard. Follow it, pursue it wholeheartedly, zealously. If at all you desire for this, not for anything else. Everything else is transitory and perishable, but this is not. So you are the imperishable. You are the unassailable. You are the uncontaminable. You are the ever full, ever abundant, ever affluent, ever sufficient. Never admit any condition, even in dream, to the contrary. Be what you are. Be what you are. Be what you are. And understand now and then what are these messages which give you the illumination and guidance to remain beautiful, ecstatic, abundant and fulfilled. Shall I stop now? Here is a literature which I am going to distribute in the form of moksha sadhana, a prasada for all of you, a literature which you can read and think about. This itself is on Ashtavakra Samhita. Now, after distribution, generally the practice is the people will take their seats and continue to be here. And after you get a copy of the literature, I read it, at least some portion of it, and explain one or two verses mentioned here. Harihi Om Tat Sat. To a mature seeker with sharp and perceptive intelligence, the enlightened teacher's instructions bring startling effect, as the dialogue between King Janaka and sage Ashtavakra illustrates. The whole creation of matter and energy is but a mere object of the subject the subject perceives in itself. The subject perceives in itself. The whole creation of matter and energy is but a mere object. This subject is giving rise to I, the identity everyone is aware of. If the inward I is thus what perceives, describes and deals with the endless creation, think of the potential and magnitude it has. The world is inert. Sentience reigns only in the living beings. In the human alone, sentience lends itself to be probed into and realized directly. Self-realization clearly reveals that subject alone is verily there, the entire objectude being an extension it brings through the senses, which the subject itself evolves and shapes. This is the supreme wisdom that anoints human life with eternal joy and fulfillment. King Janaka displays rare attunement by actualizing straightaway the truths his sage teacher reveals. As the external senses perceive outer objects, so the inner intelligence can also perceive the subtler inner consciousness, producing thoughts, feelings, memory, and knowledge. Remaining single, consciousness does these multiple functions, which tend to make everyone think there are many. Once the seeker turns within to delve into his own inner realm, the whole mystery gets revealed. This is by way of introduction. Now I am going to read only one verse because we don't have much time. Aho aham namo mahyam vinasho yasya nasti me brahmadi stamba pariyandam jagannashebi tishtadaha prakasho me nijam rupam nadiriktosmyaham tadaha yada prakashate vishwam tadaham bhasayevahi. Be very careful, attentive. Prakasho me nijam rupam. My nature, Janaka says, is prakasha, means illumination itself. I am consciousness which is ever luminous. Luminosity is my very nature. Nadiriktosmyaham tadaha. As luminosity and illumination, there is nothing ever present in the universe which is different from me or which can excel me. Yada prakashate vishwam. When, mark my words, when I feel I am seeing the universe, I am actually seeing my own extended form. Am I clear or not?
Yes.
Huh? Yes. See, we have ideas of infinity. We have ideas of earth, water, air, and different forms of energy, and finally the endless universe. This endless universe is a pronouncement which I am making on the basis of my luminosity and my permeation. So the entire universe is actually revealing to you your own inner magnitude. So in seeing the universe, I am actually supposed to glimpse my own magnitude. That is what is happening. Therefore, how great am I? Aho aham namo mahyam. Do you know what it means? Aho aham namo mahyam. What a wonder is this? Prostration to myself. What? Prostration to myself. Aho aham namo mahyam vinasho yasya nasti me. While so many things in this world are undergoing destruction, I have never been destroyed so far. So I am the indestructible. Brahmadi stamba paryandam jagannashepi tishtadaha. From Brahma, the creator, onwards, down up to a clump of grass. If everything is going to be destroyed and blown, I will still survive with my sovereign splendor. So I prostrate before myself. What? What? This is Indian philosophy. What? This is spiritual philosophy. This is Vedanta. This is the science of self-realization. Understand it. We are not beggars. We are givers. We are not seekers. We are the Siddhas, the attained people. Always try to have the nobility, the grandeur, the liberality, and the freedom, the ecstasy to become a repository of virtues and to be always giving, at least a graceful glance at all people. That is what you should be. Stop grumbling, complaining. Be a giver, a great giver, and be liberal in doing so. And you can do it provided you understand your own inner abundance, affluence, opulence, and fulfillment. I am stopping now. You were told about the SIRD. I only like to add, I have been visiting Malaysia for a number of years. The SIRD was formed a few years back. Things were very orderly thereafter in an organized manner. We have got quite a number of very good workers. They themselves say they are very, very cohesive and a very good group. And certainly the intellectuals and the intelligent people are present there. You can understand from our talks. I would like you to make use of this society, attend their programs, attend their satsangs. When a few people join together and sit together, automatically a collective force is generated. It is from such collective force that any contribution or transformation in the society, in the inner realms of the human personality can be had. And I think we can do quite much. Malaysia also needs. I would like all of you to be lovers of the country, be national, and contribute to the national productivity in ample measure. Never be a seeker. On the other hand, be a giver. Once you have become an adult, you should produce, you should join the societal pool of productivity and give to the country your best. Your best. And when your country becomes strong, that is part of the strength of the whole globe. It does not conflict with anything. So this type of an attitude you must have. I embrace all of you mentally and also bless you. May you have good children, grandchildren and great-grandchildren, all of whom will be lovers of the family, believers in God, and lovers of the society also, ever prepared to and striving to contribute the maximum they can in the way of societal productivity. May you all be enriched, elevated, ennobled, and fulfilled. May the truth of the inner presence be revealed to you and you enjoy the maximum possible measure of illumination and inner ecstasy. Hari Om Tats. Jai Guru. Kartavyamasti na mameha na kinchideva stadavyamityadimanaha bhuvi samstidosmi samshantaya sadada supta dhiyaiva vritya karyam karomi nacha kinchidaham karomi karyam karomi nacha kinchidaham karomi. We shall have the concluding recitation of Om in chorus. Take your pose for it. Hari Om Tas. Jai Guru. Jai.